Hey pals, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is something I've been wanting to cover for some time now, I just haven't taken the time to put pen to paper. So, Star Scourge Radahn, one of Elden Ring's fiercest and most popular bosses, is the center of attention today. The reason being is that there is a section of the community, especially on TikTok, at least that's where I'm seeing a lot of this content, that likes to use him as a weird flex in recent weeks. I've seen comments that almost sound coherent but have no real evidence to support, and trust me, I have put in the work to find where they are getting this information, and I really just can't find it. And then I've also seen some claims that are just flat out untrue, and so we're going to talk about some of these offhanded comments later, but allow me to give you a quick history lesson on Elden Ring and Radahn. So shortly after release with patch 1.03, the Rot-afflicted warrior received some balance changes. From what I understand, these were just to fix the hitboxes on Radahn. However, his damage numbers were also affected by this change on accident, making the demigod hit for much less, thus making him a bit easier for a short time. And we know this because of patch 1.03.3, which is just a sub-patch of the original patch, which, when released, only really targeted Radahn to bring those damage numbers back up to the original. So there was a period in which Radahn was weaker than usual, but only for about 2 weeks, and as a result, some members of the community started using the outcome of patch 1.03 as a flex. The old "I beat Radahn pre-nerf," just to style on other players who maybe didn't get to experience this fight before that patch. But the reality is that if you've played at any point in the last 9 months, you probably fought a fully powered Radahn. So what's the big deal? Well, I don't think it's particularly healthy for the community in that any new players coming in may feel as though they were cheated out of a challenge that they can't ever really accomplish unless you maybe play offline and don't get the updates. And where just simply beating Radahn should be the accomplishment, and it shouldn't be that you beat him when he wasn't balanced, which, by the way, is what all those patches are intended to do. Personally, I think fixing hitboxes is more of a quality of life change rather than a flat-out nerf. It just kind of balances things out, and the fight can still be just as punishing or as difficult as before, and it's just a more balanced encounter. And some claim that he is easier than he was at launch, but shouldn't most bosses be if you've had almost a year to get good at the game? And pre-nerf apologists have some wild examples of why he is still weaker than before, but don't have anything to back it up. One user claimed that they slowed the arrow speed, which made it easier to dodge on the horse. Okay, a couple of things here. One, I can't find anything that supports this. I've read everything from patch notes to articles and can't find a mention of adjusting arrow speed for this boss at all. So if you have a source for this, feel free to correct me in the comments. I'll roll back my take here, but I simply just can't find it. It's completely likely that this is one of the attacks that they adjusted the hitbox on. Two, this is one of the few major fights in the game where you are actually allowed to use torrent, which means that you should be capable of dodging the arrows on the horse with the correct timing, which is, in my opinion, is where the community gets a little weird. Like, we complain about not getting to use torrent for more of the major fights in the game, especially those like Estelle or Elden Beast, where their arena is huge and there's a lot of running involved, but then we turn around and are a little irked because they adjusted a fight where we can actually use the horse so that using torrent is not a liability in that fight anymore, which is kind of like the issue that this user pointed out, but I don't really see that as a problem. It's kind of more of like a good change, not necessarily a nerf. Another user flat out didn't know what they were talking about. I swear these people come out of the woodwork sometime. It's wild to me. They mentioned that his health was nerfed as well, and this is due to the fact that the Godskin Apostle in Caelid Tower has more health than Radahn, in which the answer is relatively simple. Caelid Tower is in Dragon's Barrow, which is a much higher level area than Caelid proper, and we can prove that by looking at the rune drops of both the Apostle and Radahn. Radahn upon defeat will drop about 70,000 runes, while the Apostle will drop about 94,000 runes. The Apostle is in a higher level area and as a result drops more runes than Radahn and will have a higher HP to reflect the added difficulty. In fact, there are quite a few bosses in Dragon's Barrow that have a higher HP, a higher damage, and a higher rune drop than Radahn. And so the question remains, is Radahn weaker than before? No, I don't think he is. He's just as powerful as he once was, but is a more balanced experience, and I think that the flex should be based around beating him overall, which in its own right is a major accomplishment for any player, new or old. And that's really just my take on it. I mean, I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder, I guess. I just think that we should congratulate each other on just accomplishing the boss, right? And not just like trying to make ourselves stand out because we beat an unbalanced boss. You know, I don't know. It just feels kind of weird, and it feels like there's just like a ton of misinformation around it, and it just seems like nobody wants to like really acknowledge that, I guess. At least not on TikTok, which is where a lot of this stuff comes from. So, I mean, it is what it is. But what did you think of this video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Alpal. Be kind, be safe, and spread the love. Until next time, peace.